Hi everybody, my name is Maulik Deve. I am the team lead at the Deve Group here at Fathom Realty. I wanted to sit down here and kind of talk to you. We just closed on a transaction. I want to share a little bit about something that happened that was quite interesting. So this transaction, there was actually a couple that was getting a divorce. And as you have divorces, there's attorneys involved. There's a whole lot of paperwork, and there's a lot of different things involved in this transaction. But I'll just focus on the one thing, and I think this is very important for anybody that's looking to sell a house. If you're a seller and you're on the market, you're looking to sell your house. These are some of the things that can potentially happen, but this one thing was very interesting. So we put the house on the market. I want to say it was early January, and it's April now, so this is at the end of April. But we put the house on the market early January. I want to say around January 15th or so. And the housing market is pretty crazy right now. So it sold. It was under contract within a week. So one of the things that happened while it was under contract was we went through the whole inspections. Sellers made some repairs, got the house ready based on the negotiations we had with the buyers. And then we get to about middle of February, and we find out the buyer's financing is falling apart. Now, during this time, everything was going well. The buyers had ordered an appraisal on the property. The appraisal came in at value. At the time, this property was on the market for 525, and the appraisal came in at value. Actually, it came in a little bit higher. It came in at 530. So that's a great sign. Anyway, we took the house off the market. I mean, that buyer walked away. We ended up, canceling that contract, going back on the market. And then within about a week, again, we got another offer. It looked like a pretty solid buyer. The financing in this case was a veteran, and so we had a little bit more hoops to jump through in terms of getting the house squared away and making sure that it gets through to settlement. And second time, the financing fell apart. This time, the buyer decided to go out there and buy a car while we were in the middle of a transaction. It hit the credit report pretty hard. Not only that, it also disqualified the buyer who was just barely qualifying to buy this house. So again, at this time, the house, the appraisal on this one on a VA came in at 520. So the first one was 530, the second one was 520. We made some adjustments to make sure that we can work with the buyer. Anyway, we went back on the market, and we decided, the market is pretty solid. We're going under contract every week or so. Let's shoot for a little bit higher of a price, and we ended up putting the house back on the market for 550 this time. So this is the third time the house is going on the market. This is I want to say end of middle of March, late March, April, early April, I want to say. And this time around, this is the spring market coming up too. So the landscaping was looking nice. The weather was better. It was warmer, and this time we had multiple offers, and we were able to get that house bid up, and we were actually able to get that under contract for 550. And this was a conventional buyer, and so we went through the whole conventional process. And this time the house appraised for 550, as in the value of the house went from 530 to 520 to 550, and these are three separate appraisals that were done within a 4-month time frame of each other. And so that was very interesting to find, because how is it possible that three different people came and appraised the property three different ways, and they're all following the same guidelines? They're following the same standards of appraisal. And anyway, long story short, what I wanted to get to the bottom of was things happen when you go under contract on a property. Financing falls apart. With the current mortgage rates the way they are, things can go sideways, and you really have to understand how this is going to play out and be patient with the situation, because sometimes buyers are stretching in this market. They're stretching because of the interest rate, because of where things are. They're stretching to try to get qualified for a house. Not only that, to get to settlement. And along the way, they may go out there and buy some furniture or a car or, whatever it is, just thinking that they're past the financing hurdle, and they don't realize that the lender is going to pull their credit one more time. One more time, about 3 days prior to settlement, right before they give them the clear to close, the lender is going to pull credit one more time. And if you have done something which has impacted your credit score, it can stop you from getting to the settlement table. Not only that, every time the buyer went under contract, we ended up going after earnest money deposit. So you could potentially lose your earnest money deposit. As a seller's agent, I always go after the earnest money deposit. That's the only other recourse I have for trying to make right by the seller. So pretty interesting. 3 different scenarios, 3 different appraisals, all in different ranges, and this is kind of what's going on in the current market. I think we settled this house yesterday, and finally everything was squared away. The lawyers ended up taking the majority of the money because of the lawsuits between the 2 buyers and between the 2 sellers. I was communicating with the lawyers predominantly, and then the sellers just partially because they wouldn't talk to each other. So, interesting story, but I thought you might enjoy it. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me. Thank you. Take